That was a little bit heartbreaking. I was surprised, but organizational changes happen. They do. They're real.
And bang, your whole life is turned upside
I
down.
think it's the way that you handle it that makes the difference. I mean, I have my high and my low moments for
Right.
sure, but I know I can do it all over again. Don't be afraid to veer off your path. It's okay to veer and stay veered as well. You don't have to stay in packaging your whole career. Taking chances and learning more, learn, come back and contribute, or take a different path because you will become more valuable.
Hello, and welcome to Packaging Speaks, where we talk to packaging engineers about their lives, their career growth, and their vision of the future of the industry. I'm Christian, managing partner at PackStaff. Today I'm being joined by Vicki Catalina, a proven packaging leader with experience both as a packaging user and a packaging supplier. Thanks for joining me today, Vicki.
Glad to be here with you, Christian.
Awesome. Super excited to have a conversation today. I think your career has a lot of unique angles to it that will be beneficial for the industry to hear about. Not only your experience both on the supplier and the end user side, you were part of a change at Nestlé, right? And you found yourself
Mm-hmm.
looking for work again,
Mm-hmm.
which is is perhaps a difficult thing to go through. But I think a lot of folks in the industry, especially the younger ones, will appreciate knowing that no matter how far into your career you get or what your credentials might be, business can affect just about anyone.
Absolutely.
And so,
At every
uh,
level.
right. And so I think we should go through that a little bit. I guess to start, Vicki, could you tell us about how you got into the industry, how you ended up in packaging?
Sure. My background's a little bit unique or different than most packaging engineers, but I'll start from the get-go. I loved packaging way back when, knew that I wanted to go to MSU for the School of Packaging. So very, very early on, it was my intention. And early, develop the technical skills and project management skills, and morphed more into strategy and innovation as well. And then at the end, brought that full circle into leadership at Nestle.
Sure. Okay. And you started off at Johnson and Johnson, is that right?
Oh, eons ago, yes, medical, first real job out of school.
First real job was medical. Was that medical
Yes.
devices?
Yeah, well, it was called Surgicos back then, so it was
Right.
a lot of the solutions and gloves and so forth.
Okay. One of the harder ways for packaging engineers to move is from medical into food or into something faster paced and consumer driven. I feel like you're maybe lucky, or maybe it was by design that you were able to make that move pretty early in your career.
Oh gosh, yeah. Um, it was a conscious decision to go back to Michigan because my
Right.
husband and I were from Michigan, and I really kind of hit hard at not at Kellogg's and got in at the lowest level after being in the market for a couple of years, actually, probably 3 or 4 years, and really worked my way up there. Had a fantastic mentor, really great mentor. His name was Jim Robotham,
Okay.
and really spent time to understand the equipment, the operations, the process, sensory and stability and testing, and really dug deep into that and loved my time at Kellogg's.
Awesome. I
But it was hard. It wasn't just a natural switch to go from medical to food because you're talking the industries, you're
Yep.
consumer facing and not consumer facing. But in reality, the materials are similar. Everything else about the process
Hmm.
pretty much stays the same.
The difference is working with marketing and the pace of projects,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. And by the way, being willing to move, seeking out Kellogg's and being willing to go and take a job at the bottom of the ladder, is not an easy thing for everybody to do. But that's if you can get into an organization and prove yourself, you can grow quickly, and you certainly did that during your time at Kellogg's, I think. So,
Yep.
talk to me about how did you end up leaving Kellogg's?
I made a intentional choice after I hit a team of 11 when I left Kellogg's and really loved Kellogg's. It was a great, great family company to work for. It was a really fantastic experience. But I knew that I was more creative and wanted to do more in innovation and strategy. So I made a conscious decision to develop my skill sets in that way. So then I had the opportunity to join Hardworking Packaging. It was called Competitive Innovation back then,
Okay.
same company now, to develop those skills, really hone into consumer understanding and strategy, and how you combine and use all that to really help client develop a really strong pipeline or strategy around new product.
Is that a consultancy?
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess just for some clarity's sake and for people to understand how that works, as a consultancy, were you a W-9 employee there, or was that like a 1099 type of relationship?
1099. I think
Okay.
nowadays there's multiple opportunities either way.
Right. But okay. But in that case, it was 1099.
Yeah.
And then you went to the supplier side of packaging for a while after that.
Yeah, through those years, there were a couple suppliers that I work with, both in the same capacity in terms of innovation and strategy. OI and Amcor spent a lot of time helping Amcor to think differently about what the consumer's needs were and innovation. Because sometimes people kind of get stuck working with the same client, with customers, or working in their cubicles, and it was really about bringing the outside world into them so that they could use that knowledge to innovate much, much better than what they had been.
Yeah. Being able to bring your experience as an innovator in the consulting space and as somebody who's worked with marketing and worked as an end user, bringing that perspective into the supplier side and helping them break the mold sounds like challenging and fun work, really.
Yeah, they had a leader back then. Her name, she's at Amazon right now, Kim Hutchins.
Okay. Yeah.
Name dropping. I don't know if I should be doing that. She was really terrific about forward thinking and doing things different.
Mm-hmm.
So she got it from the get-go. She was a very strong leader there.
Awesome. Okay. I mean, just because it's unique, talk to me about working in the electrical specialist's role.
Oh, well, during my tenure or after my tenure at Hardworking Packaging in the agency side,
Yeah.
I was strongly desiring to go back to CBG.
Okay.
I really, really wanted I wanted the challenge in leadership to bring the consumer side and the strategy side back to a CPG role and have the responsibility again on the end-to-end applications.
Right.
I knew that I was just strongly desiring to do something different again, and I thought, well, I got this knowledge and I want to use it in the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that it was super valuable too, at a corporate level. So when I made that decision, like my previous intentional decision, that happened again. And I thought it was going to be fairly easy. That, wow, this is good. I think this is going to be an exciting time in my life. I thought it would be pretty easy to make that transition, and it wasn't that easy. It took a couple months. And Byrne was a small family-owned business in Michigan, electrical based, and they had commercial and commercial e-com business. And I started with them knowing that it was most likely going to be for a shorter period of time, a transitional role. But terrific people there, and it gave me the in to get back into, let's say, more of a consumer-focused
Right.
company, and because I think through the resume and application process, I wasn't really getting recognized because most companies, like Hardworking Packaging, is not a known name.
Sure. If
You
you've
know,
got
so
HR
just
going
look
through
at
your
companies.
resume and they
Yeah.
see hardworking packaging, they're saying, well, I don't know what that is. Yeah.
Wow, she was there a long
May
time,
not
and I
even
never
get
heard
through
of them
the HR
before.
screen, right? The
Yeah.
person who's actually making the decision and knows stuff about packaging may not even see your resume at something.
Right. Right. And some of the people within the packaging groups within companies, large companies, I did know very well, but it wouldn't
Sure.
get to that level. Okay, so I started at Vern for a while, then COVID happened, and then I started at Nestle. And the way that I started really at Nestle was really doing the networking piece of it, really spending time on looking at the companies, LinkedIn, who within those companies, and kind of by fluke actually, they had this role. It was a senior manager and R&D position available, and I knew one of the HR guys who was not responsible for that role, but another role. And I said, Eric, this is like right up my alley. I don't know why I'm getting kicked out for this. Again, the system. And he says, I know it is. It is. Let me talk to that guy. And that kind of worked the magic. And it was a terrific time at Nestle. Really strong innovation work. So I'm very proud of the work that we did there.
Awesome. And for the record, another excellent lesson in how to change roles. You knew what you wanted. You found a target. You networked your way in. That's the way to do it. So that's a great lesson for everybody. Thank you. Talk to me about what your role at Nestle was like. You were supervising a group there, or what were your responsibilities?
Yep, we were in the liquid coffee group for
Okay.
Nestle, R&D location in Ohio. It was a smaller group and responsible for all the packaging for any of the coffee liquid products. So you're talking Coffee Mate, Natural Bliss, cold brews, Starbucks businesses, and so forth. So it was aseptic applications primarily, so and
Okay.
mostly rigid.
Okay. So, I know that you were having a successful career at Nestle, and you were caught by surprise. Talk to me about that change.
Okay, that was a little bit heartbreaking. I was surprised and yeah, just a little bit in shock at the very beginning. But organizational changes happen. You know, they do. They're real. And it wasn't only me, it's other people that,
Right.
in the company had experienced the reorganization and downsizing from Switzerland.
Right.
But,
So it wasn't even a decision that was made by people you interact with, people who know what your role was. It
no,
was made internationally, and bang, your whole life is turned upside down.
yeah, yeah, I think the sites even get surprised at some of these decisions. Um, but they're real. And
Yeah.
I think it's the way that you handle it that makes the difference. So it's been a little while since it happened. But since then, I've been really applying myself. I stay very, very dedicated to um, looking for new opportunity because I know from my time at Nestle, I was a good leader. We were super productive in terms of innovation and patents and really bringing the business really thoughtful
Hmm.
um, packaging solutions that were consumer focused, that worked for operations, that were great for sustainability and cost. So, you can't take that away from a person. What they've
No.
accomplished, you can never take that away from a person. So, and if you just stay positive on those things, then I think you're okay. I mean, I have my high and my low moments for
Right.
sure, but I know I can do it all over again.
Yeah, and I think it's important for, especially for younger folks in the industry, to know that even somebody with your bona fides, having coming up through Kellogg's, worked on the supplier side, worked at some major brands, and then being a senior leader at Nestle, and you can just get taken by surprise like that. Even if you're doing things right, sometimes things happen that you just can't control. And your reaction to it, in my opinion, is exactly right. I know that you've been patient in looking for the right opportunity, and talking to several organizations about what might be next for you. And I would encourage you, and and I would encourage others that may go through the same thing that you're going through. Packaging engineers have a very valuable skill set. And it's not only is it valuable, it's incredibly sought after, and there is just not enough talent to go around, right? So you don't have to jump at the first thing. You gotta make sure that the next move you make is a good one for you and going to be good for your career and all of that. Don't let the decisions that you have no control over shake your confidence, because it's a very real skill set, and it's definitely necessary in our world right now. So, big change at Nestle catches you by surprise, and now you're in a position where you're a senior leader and you are back in the market looking for work. Um, Talk to me about what that is like. Do you have a lot of applications out? Are you seeing a lot of jobs that are interesting to you? How do you feel about the market right now?
Well, I think in the last 2 months, it's changed a lot. It's gotten much,
Yes.
much busier, and which is fantastic. I think it was a very slow, Q1 was very slow, but it's been very busy right now, and I'm very involved, we'll put it that way. And there's good roles out there, and I think it's exciting because I look at it and think like, I know what I want to be doing. I know what makes me happy and I know what I'm good at. I'm very good at innovation, very good at strategy, very good at helping my team grow in terms of their project management and end to end. And I love being able to develop pipeline and opportunities. That means, you know, saving money for companies or making, a difference for sustainability or for consumers. So I see jobs out there that I can apply that to.
Awesome. You getting interviews?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's busy.
Awesome.
It's busy.
Good, good. So, um, do you want to? Can you tell us a little bit about what you feel like the ideal role will be for you coming up? What kind of roles are you applying for?
I was really happy with my role at Nestle. So a similar capacity, doesn't have to be same product, doesn't have to be same number of people, but really leading people and developing their skill sets, as
Mm-hmm.
well as being part of the leadership team and helping with strategy. And I love to get my hands dirty. I like to be on the equipment still. I like to be involved in design and learning with consumers or innovating. So I would say I'm a very involved person and creative still. And just trying now at this stage, transferring knowledge.
Okay.
Transferring as much knowledge as I can to help others with their careers as well.
Okay. What you want to talk about? What kind of challenges you see for packaging groups in the industry right now? There's a lot of moving pieces between tariffs and EPR and all the stuff. You want to talk about that?
Wow, yeah, well, I've been thinking a lot about this a lot lately, but it's tough right now. It's super tough because costs are a huge part of that whole situation with sustainability, and cost in terms of design materials, runnability on the equipment. It is very difficult, but even if the companies can get there, which I do believe that they're committed and they will get there, the combination of supplier and the CPGs doing that, I see in my mind the problem with the other side. It's still the collection and recycling side and consumer commitment as well. And that goes hand in hand. And maybe if the consumer saw much better systems in terms of collection and recycling, then they would be more committed. But I don't think the consumers feel that or see that yet. So,
Well,
I
I
think
agree with
it's
that.
definitely, we have a long way to go, a real long way to go.
I agree with that. I took a tour of it was a Southern Ohio IOPP chapter hosted a tour of a recycling collection in, MRF, and it was a state of the art facility, and it was a pretty impressive thing to see in all the ways they could sort and products they could identify through AI and all. There were packaging engineers talking about trying to get their product recognized as recyclable, and the guy was telling them, yeah, well, heck, we can get our machine to recognize what flavor of yogurt wrapping we just pulled out of the system. So the technology is there. It's a matter of really getting the investment done, I think, and modernizing the system. And who's going to do that until it's either A, profitable, or B, mandated?
Right.
So yeah, I definitely see struggles on the collection, on the sorting, on the recycling side. And I don't know, how do you get everybody paddling in the same direction? Um, that's a project.
Yeah, it will be really interesting to see if, the plastics growth is just off the charts. And Husky just did a nice publication on growth and consumption
Hmm.
that and goes into the next 5 years. Really great work that they put forth. And it will be interesting to see how some of the paper applications really start to make impact on that as well. I think that there's room for it. I truly
Yes.
believe that there is.
Okay. Um, is there is there anything else you'd really like to share with the
Well,
packaging
kind of.
community?
One little thing for the
Yeah.
young ones.
Do
um,
it.
I would say follow your gut. If something really interests you, whether it's a technology, whether it's a septic or something else, baking, whatever, um, you know, learn, don't be afraid to veer off your path and learn more about it because you will become more valuable. And it's okay to veer and stay veered as well. You don't have to stay in packaging your whole career. And I think
Mhm.
taking chances and learning more, whether it's innovation or marketing or consumer research, I think those are really great things to like experience, learn, come back and contribute, or take a different path. So I would say I would just encourage people not to be afraid to do that.
I I could not agree more with that sentiment. If you follow your interests, your life will be easier than just following career for career's sake. Follow your gut. That's great advice from Vicki Catalina. Awesome. I really appreciate you spending some time with me today, Vicki. I think that you've provided some value to the industry. I know maybe sharing a little bit of detail about about a layoff might be uncomfortable, but I think you're providing a real service to folks that may encounter the same thing throughout their career, and because it does happen, and it happens to people of all levels and of all abilities and all types. And the way you recover from that says a lot about who you are, and I think you're doing all the right things, Vicki. So thanks very much for your time, and let's continue to keep in touch. And if you do get a job offer you want help negotiating or anything, we're out here and everything we do for our candidates is free. So just give me a call.
That's good. Well, thank you, Christian, too. Gosh, I've known you and your dad forever. And it's been nice to know you and chat with you. But I also want to say best of luck to everyone out there, whether they're in their career or, finding their next role. I hope it works out well, and we're hopeful.
Great. Cool beans. Thanks so much for your time, Vicki. We'll see everybody next time on Packaging Speaks.
Ciao.